Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now getting closer to the very middle of November, and as we get nearer to, of course, the very end of Star Wars Andor Season 1, a lot of Star Wars fans out there are looking forward to The Mandalorian Season 3, the Ahsoka TV series, and even The Bad Batch 2. That's really going to kickstart this new Star Wars universe, so to speak. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about Favreau and Filoni is that they are all now about revelations. They have openly stated several times that The Mandalorian Season 4 is going to be all about revelations and big twists and turns that have to do with having a huge impact on the Skywalker saga movies. And exactly how they're going to go about doing that all depends on the fan reaction to The Mandalorian Season 3 and how that's going to tie directly into 4, which, by the way, is going to have a huge time jump. Now that brings us to where we stand today. Now, Favreau and Filoni are storyboarding several aspects of other Star Wars TV shows that's going to have direct tie-ins to the Ahsoka series and Mandalorian 4, as well as a handful of other Star Wars shows out there. But when it all comes down to what Favreau recently had to say about what he believes is going to break the internet also, has a lot to do with a particular revelation that's going to be a big deal for the Star Wars universe and how it lends a lot of connections to the character of Luke Skywalker. So let's dive right into it. Now, we already know that Favreau has been very much cautious about what he's been saying out loud to the fans. So most recently, I think that this is probably one of the biggest hints of what's to come for Mando 4. Now, with Favreau and Filoni set to drastically change some of the existing Star Wars lore for the fandom, Favreau has been working closely with Lucas on what to do with some of the existing Star Wars characters. However, recently Favreau touched on something very substantial for the Star Wars franchise. Favreau went on to say the following: "Many fans keep on asking me what kind of revelations we have in store for the fans when it involves some of the characters that I actually had created. What we are working on right now is a groundbreaking revelation related to Din Djarin's true identity and how we are actually going to be exploring his true backstory as well. That, of course, we believe is going to break the internet as much as our Grogu revelation plans that we are currently writing right now for the fandom. We are going to find a big way to enhance Din Djarin by exploring his true identity and what connections we will have, of course, to Luke Skywalker in the upcoming stories that we are so very excited to begin working on in the next couple of months further." So, before I get to the next segment that is even all the more revealing is that Favreau openly making it clear that a part of this big revelation for Din Djarin is going to have a lot of connections to Luke Skywalker in the upcoming Star Wars lore. Now, given that Din Djarin is a very involved character so far, we can see that it's essentially a mixture of Boba Fett and a handful of other bounty hunters that we have seen in Star Wars Legends, if you guys pay attention. It's a very grounded character, and I like where it's going, but what they are about to do now in Mando 4, based on the most recent storyboard leaks that we've been going over, is actually quite surreal, to say the least, about what they are about to do that may be a little bit controversial out there to some Star Wars fans. Let's tap right into this. Now, we already know that Favreau made it very clear that Mando 4 is also going to be about creating tie-ins to the past, specifically back to the older days of Mandalore and the character of Tar Vizsla. We're going to be learning more about that as well. So the other thing about all of this is that given that there's also a show in the works called simply Star Wars Mandalore, that's basically the Bo-Katan series that's going to feature a lot of Tar Vizsla in the form of flashbacks as well as Bo-Katan's story more so. That, of course, is going to have a major impact on what revelations are going to be unveiled in The Mandalorian Season 4 as well. So, this is where things begin to get a little bit more intense, is that, separate from what Favreau stated here, this all alludes to their plan behind the scenes. for The Mandalorian Season 4 that is set to feature that Din Djarin is going to be set up as the modern version of Tar Vizsla. John and Dave already have storyboards illustrated of Din being Force sensitive and training with Luke Skywalker on how to perfect the use of the dark saber and some Force abilities that can benefit his journey to possibly becoming both a Mandalorian and a Jedi. Now, in case you guys don't know, this is essentially the endgame for John and Dave. Alright, so basically what they want to do is they want to make sure that Din Djarin's going to eventually hold that lore to both the Jedi and the Mandalorian. Alright, so I think that's a very smart move on their end. We already see that Din Djarin had some struggles with the Darksaber in the Book of Boba Fett. I believe it was episode 5, if I'm not mistaken. But in that episode, you do learn that the Darksaber does take some expertise. And this storyboard in particular that John and Dave are illustrating right now is Luke teaching Mando or Din, whatever you want to call him, on how to use the Darksaber properly. Now, this is something that Luke has known about in legend, quote-unquote, but never really knew that it existed, and it's going to be a powerful moment because this is said to be the very first time that Luke sees the Darksaber himself, and how he's going to teach Din Djarin to use the Force and to use it correctly. Now, on top of that, this is the endgame right now for Favreau and Filoni that they realize some fans may dislike, but also realize it will add great lore to the story and that many other fans will support all of it. Now, I don't know about you guys, but to me, I do feel that making Din Djarin Force sensitive may cause a little bit of, fans having criticism over the show, and I get that, I 100% understand it. But I think that this is a great way to go. By making him a modern Tar Vizsla is very poetic. They already kind of teased that in Book of Boba Chapter 5, where the Armorer tells Din, about the Darksaber's origins and how it was built by Tar Vizsla, who was both a Mandalorian and a Jedi. It's really foreshadowing, to be honest. I mean, that really is the best version of foreshadowing in the Mandoverse of what's about to happen with Din Djarin. And, at the end of the day, there's a lot of things happening between John and Dave trying to get the Legends universe back in action, right? They want to make sure that Legends is also going to play a big role in The Mandalorian Season 4. So that's another thing that they have to pay attention to and, take care of carefully and make sure that they stay in line with George Lucas's vision, of course. So overall, guys, there's a lot of things at hand here, a lot of things at play. I think that Peyton Reed, by the way, the director that's going to join Mando 4, is going to do a fantastic job. And he did a fantastic job with Mando Season 2's finale, so I think that he's fit for the role. I really do. So overall, the direction that they are going with Din Djarin and Grogu holding all these revelations and how it's going to break the internet is pretty big. So let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding from night to moon.